Hi everyone, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Anna, and you're listening to We Judge a Show by Its Pilot, a podcast hosted by us, a married couple with an endless love for TV.
Whether you're looking for a new show to binge or wanting to revisit an old classic, let us be your guide through the infinite list of TV shows.
So come join us every Friday as we discuss the pilot for a TV show while also sharing personal stories that parallel the storylines.
We Judge a Show by Its Pilot, where your new favorite show is just one click away. Hello everyone, welcome back to our pod.
Hi, welcome back.
Yeah, so we've had a little influx of followers on Instagram. So
tell your friends.
So we get, not to talk analytics, but how many of y'all are listening? Who knows? But I do know because I can look it up. But so we have a pretty decent following when it comes to downloads and listens, and enough to keep us going. We're not getting like one download a week or anything, enough to justify us continuing this podcast. But we haven't really had much of a social media following. We're not super active on social media. We are doing this for fun. We're not trying to make a career out of this. But we have gotten a little influx of followers on Instagram, which, we're not even at 100 followers, but for us, it's a big deal.
Where were we at earlier in the week, though?
We were at like 43 followers, and we are now at 78, which for us is a big deal.
It's almost 100% increase.
Which for us is a big deal because it's not our friends, it's not people we know, because I think majority of the followers originally were like family, friends, people that were just supporting us, which is great. And if any of y'all are listening, thank you for supporting us. But if you are new to the podcast, or if you recently started following us on social media, welcome to our podcast. We appreciate it. And just some little podcast news.
Yeah, because we're coming up on 2 years. We did take a break in March, and we've had a couple of blips because of vacation, but we have been very consistent.
Yeah.
And we both work full time. And what I also want to say is, currently we work very opposite schedules.
Yeah.
Like when I'm home, you're at work. When you're home, I'm doing work. So us keeping up with this for 2 years pretty consistently, I feel is really impressive.
We're almost at 150 episodes.
Yeah. And so I'm very proud of what we've done, in the sense that we've kept it up, as it is currently a hobby. It is something we do for fun, but we also enjoy TV and finding new shows. And some of the shows we've watched in their entirety. Some we started and kind of fell off because we keep having to watch new shows.
Right.
But I have really enjoyed this and doing this with you.
Yeah.
And I think that people who do find our pod and our channel on YouTube or however they're listening to it are like, oh, this is kind of fun. So, it really makes them think of when they are watching shows, like the stories that they also have,
right,
because of our stories. So I love it. I love doing this pod, and I'm happy that we have gotten a little bit more of a following.
I'm happy too, and we're not going anywhere. I have printed out our themes and our shows until September. So
awesome.
I'm excited. I don't have an October theme yet. I know that's my birthday month, and that's usually like our choices for our birthday month. And your theme for this past April was just so good. It's just so hard to top it, but I'll think of something. I have time. So
I will say it is semi-inspired by our relationship of TV and the evolution of TV. I wouldn't be mad if you also wanted to do it, but with your spin on YouTube or whatever streaming.
We did Smosh. There's not much. There's not much that can be topped. We could do like Game Grumps and stuff, but or maybe like YouTube shows that like first got me into YouTube or something like that.
But you can think of something.
But I'll think of something. It may not be, it's probably not going to be YouTube themed, but I'll think of something. And it may not even be a personal thing. It might just be a theme that I want to do. So,
yeah, there you go.
All right. So we are at the end of the month. We are still celebrating Irish TV shows, and we have a brand new show that came out this year that's on Netflix, and it's a show that we immediately once again, we watched the first episode. We haven't continued watching because we chose the Burrows, and
I was gone for almost a week.
And you pretty much watched the episode, we watched the first episode, and then you immediately left, or we immediately went on vacation. I don't remember, but I don't remember what the setup was, but we weren't able to continue. And then the Burrows was added, and then we watched. And when we have time to sit down and watch TV, we're usually watching like our current shows that we're catching up on. Euphoria, The Testaments, and now The Burrows, and some other shows. And so we are going to continue watching the show, but we just haven't yet.
Yeah, and it's not going to be too hard to catch up because it's only one season right now. So,
one season, 8 episodes, and it is How to Get to Heaven from Belfast. So let's just go ahead and get into it. And if you want to go ahead and give us some episode and series information.
All right. How to Get to Heaven from Belfast, The Wake. How to Get to Heaven from Belfast is an Irish comedy thriller that premiered on Netflix on February 12th, 2026. The series currently has 1 season and 8 episodes. The series was created by Lisa McGee, who we mentioned earlier this month as the creator of Derry Girls. The pilot was also written by McGee and was directed by Michael Lennox, who also directed the pilot for Derry Girls. The series centers around 3 best friends from Belfast who receive news that the estranged 4th member of their group has passed away. They return home to pay their respects, but after strange events at the wake and a certain long-kept secret being threatened to come out, the 3 friends begin to investigate their friend's mysterious death. The 3 friends quickly realize they are in way over their head. The series stars Roisin Gallagher as Saoirse, a clever but chaotic TV writer for a popular crime drama, which I love her.
Yeah.
Sinead Keenan as Robin, the well-kept but stressed-out mother of 3 boys who is in desperate need of a break.
She's my favorite.
Keelan Dunn as Dara, an eccentric and inhibited Catholic who still lives at home caring for her mother. Brona Gallagher as Booker, an ominous figure who pursues the main trio. Dara Hand as Liam, a Garda officer from Dublin that has caught the eye of Saoirse. Natasha O'Keefe as Greta, the trio's estranged friend that has recently passed away. Emmett J. Scanlon as Owen, Greta's husband, and Michelle Fairley, also known as Catelyn Stark, as Margot, Greta's strict mother. The idea behind the series was McGee's desire to write a wish fulfillment story and was inspired by her own group of friends. Combined with McGee's interest in true crime, she began to wonder if she and her friends could solve a murder, and then How to Get to Heaven from Belfast was born. The series has been praised by critics and audiences alike for its themes of friendship and nostalgia, as well as the show's ability to mix the genres of mystery, thriller, drama, and a mix of dark and lighthearted humor together. Many former cast members of Derry Girls appear on the series. I'm going to kill some of these names. Sinead Keenan, Emmett J. Scanlon, Brona Gallagher, and Saoirse Monica Jackson, and the Derry Girls mural in Derry appears in a scene in episode 8. McGee has expressed interest in continuing the story, but as of right now, the series has not been renewed for a 2nd season. You can currently watch the series on Netflix.
Yeah, I wrote this a little while ago, and yeah, there's still no update on a season 1, so this might just be a one and done. But
yeah.
So who knows how it ends? We don't know. But so this was a show that I think you were like, hey, let's check out this. I think it was your idea to do this show, which we didn't even know that it was the same creator of Derry Girls.
Right.
We didn't realize that it existed in the same. I think it technically exists in the same universe.
Which we love Derry Girls, so
Yeah.
I mean, it was once we realized that, we're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
so we like that style, their style.
And any mention of Derry just makes me happy because I love Pennywise.
Not Derry, Maine.
So the story is, a lot of it is about like friendship, nostalgia, just like you said in the episode and series information. Estranged friends is always kind of I always feel like the word estranged is such a weird word. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't sound like what it means. But do you have any like estranged friends?
And I'm like you when I was looking at the questions. I was thinking to myself, like, what exactly does that mean in the sense of the word estranged?
Are you looking up the definition?
Yes, I am. It usually means friends who were once close but are now emotionally distant, no longer speaking, or no longer on good terms. The estrangement can happen because of a conflict, growing apart, betrayal, life changes, or just unresolved issues. Like an example, they were estranged friends after a falling out in college.
Yeah.
So yes, I think I do. I'm not going to mention her name, but
right.
She, about 10 or 12 years ago, we had a conflict, and the conflict was really crazy because it really sort of didn't involve us, except in the fact that it sort of did. It's like hard to describe. Like, I don't know how to describe it really well. I don't think she listens to the podcast. So a couple of our friends, I think I've actually mentioned this on the pod before. One was trying to get pregnant and one had an accidental pregnancy, and it was a struggle because the one who wanted to get pregnant really could not. And here she was trying to get pregnant, and the one who already had children wasn't. And it kind of reminds me of the Sex and the City episode when Miranda accidentally gets pregnant when she has the tilted uterus. Steve has one ball and she manages to get pregnant. And then Charlotte, who really wants to get pregnant, cannot.
Yeah.
And it was that kind of situation in the sense of the pregnancy, no pregnancy. And they were keeping it a secret from the person who could not get pregnant, and I divulged the pregnancy. Obviously, it was going to come out because she was going to have a child, so it wasn't going to be a forever secret.
Right.
So, however, one of the other friends felt that it wasn't my place and that I should have waited, and deep down, I think she was just mad that she wasn't the one that inevitably told her.
Right.
Because she considered her to be her closer friend. And I think she was just mad that I took the initiative, except for the fact that she wanted to keep it a secret longer. And I'm like, how can you keep it secret longer? You know, like we start knowing when people are pregnant. There's no hiding it usually. And so our estrangement started because we used to go on trips together. They used to come to New Orleans and we'd have girls' weekends. And I sort of started noticing that they would go on trips and not invite me and not include me. And it was really difficult because I have known all of them since college. Yeah. They were sorority sisters. And so it really hurt me in that sense that we couldn't have a conversation about it. And it was really the one who got upset because the one who couldn't get pregnant was grateful I had told her.
Yeah.
And the one who was pregnant was actually fine with the fact that I had told her. She's like, it's a relief. Like it's now like the burden of hiding it is now over. And so it was really hard in that way. And, you know, we used to be very close and we're not so much anymore. I mean, I still randomly maybe message her happy birthday, or if I'm in Monroe, I may meet up with her for dinner, but our relationship has truly not been the same since then. And that was really hard, but it's also something as an adult that I've just been like, you know what? I need to let it go. I did what I did. There's no taking it back. I stand by what I did. I don't regret it. I regret that we couldn't come to some sort of mutual acceptance of what had happened and both be okay with it. I think she's still not okay with it. And I mean, the child that was born is now like almost 14 years old.
Yeah.
So it's crazy in that way. And so that's probably one of like the larger estrangements of friends that I've had. I feel like I'm a good person at talking things out and not having those kind of things happen, but that was one that I have never been able to really resolve. What about you? Have you had that struggle?
Yeah, I mean, we're a little different when it comes to friendships. I think you are someone that is willing to really want to work things out with your friends, kind of regardless of, no offense, regardless of whether or not they deserve it, or regardless of whether or not the friendship, and this sounds harsh, but like whether or not the friendship is worth it.
Yeah.
And I mean that in a sense of like being friends with someone who maybe is a little toxic, maybe is a little dramatic, maybe is someone that really, I don't really think values you as a friend. And I'm talking to you, but I'm also talking about myself. But I mean, like, I am just someone that when someone, I've talked about, I don't know if I've fully talked about this on the pod before, but I have severe trust issues and I have severe abandonment issues. And when I feel like someone betrays my trust, it is really hard for me to come back from that. It's really hard for me to just be like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, because you kind of, that's kind of like the whole thing about any relationship, not just friendship, just any relationship in general. It's like once you kind of break my trust, it's like I look at you differently.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me just to go back to being I mean, like, obviously that's happened in the past and I've let it go, or it wasn't big enough for me to be like, you know what, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. But there have been times where I mean, other than like kind of growing apart and just kind of losing contact because of that, I don't count that as estranged. To me, like,
right.
An estranged friendship is a little bit more like something happened.
Yeah. Like my story. Like
yeah,
that.
like, and because I mean, you grow apart from friends all the time and you just kind of lose contact, and there's nothing wrong with that. But so I have a few, unfortunately, I have more than one, but I haven't always been the best friend. I haven't always been the best with keeping in contact or returning texts or phone calls. I am a little bit flaky when it comes to that, but I try to keep the friendships that I truly care about are the ones that like I will be like, have I texted them? When was the last time I texted them? And like I'll text and be like, hey, how's it going? Like with Nick or with Andy or, you know, with whoever. But I had one, so there are a few, but the two that really kind of pop into my brain are, one was my childhood best friend. We grew up next door to each other. It really was, I mean, looking back now, we really were friends because of geography. We really were, because we were born a week apart. Our sisters were the same age. Our parents were friends. It's kind of like the movie Good Boys, where it's like you're kind of friends out of convenience.
Because you were all in the same classes every day.
Right. And well, we went to different schools, but we lived in the same neighborhood. We had the same friends. Like I said, our sisters were best friends. They were each other's maid of honor at their weddings. Like, our parents did stuff together. So it was like that. But the older we got, I mean, like, we maintained like, as we became teenagers, we maintained our friendship. We did stuff together all the time. And as we got maybe like kind of 18, 19, 20 years old, that was when kind of the shift started. And it was like, so I guess we were 21 because it was right before I moved to Florida. And he's now married to this woman. They have kids. They have a very happy life. So this isn't like any slam towards her, but she and not for the word. I know I keep like kind of defending myself because I'm not trying to insult anyone, just in case someone I know is listening to this. There aren't any hard feelings. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like, there aren't any like hard feelings on my end. But at the time, he met this girl, and it was like I'm not comparing it to obsession, but I almost did. It was almost like he came over to my house one day and he was this one person, and then he meets this girl, and a week later he's a completely different person.
Yeah.
And it's like he was very much like kind of before he met this girl, and like I said, meeting her maybe reestablished things and changed his views on things, which happens, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it was like he was a completely different person, and it was like all of a sudden he had these beliefs that he didn't have a week before, and all of these stances and hills he was dying on all of a sudden because he met this girl. And she's heavily religious and very I really don't know her that well, so I can't really make a snap judgment. The only thing I can really say was that she was very religious, and it was like all of a sudden he was just like, I'm religious now. Like, I'm religious now. I believe in God now, which is, great for him. That's not what I'm putting down. It was just, and at that point in time, when I was 21, I've talked about this before, but I was very lost. I was kind of floating through life. I kind of had this dead-end job. I was still living at home. Like, it was kind of this era of, I wasn't in school. Like, it was just this era of my life where I just felt very lost, and he had kind of found something. And I mean, straight up, I was kind of jealous about that, and I was a little bitter about that. And when I moved to Florida, I didn't really tell a lot of people that I moved to Florida. I kind of just moved to Florida. It was like a week later I was living in Florida. I decided I was going to move to Florida. Then a week later I was living in Florida. Like, I only told like a handful of people other than like my immediate family. And we just stopped talking. And I saw him at my sister's wedding. And when I first moved back to Florida, he reached out to me. And I didn't respond. I didn't reply because I was just kind of like, I was still, all these years had passed and I was still the same person. And I was kind of ashamed of that. And I was kind of like embarrassed that I was just kind of like moving back to Florida with my tail between my legs. And I was still that same person, even though we were still we were in our like early 20s. It wasn't like I had to be this specific thing, but
and that happens to so many people, but
right.
I get the feeling, yeah.
And I remember getting the message from him and reading it and like starting to reply, and and I remember in my mind just being like, what are we going to talk about? I was just like, are we just going to hang out? Like, is he really going to hang out with me? Is he really going to be friends with me? And so this is on me. I'm willing to take accountability for that. He wanted to reconnect, and I selfishly didn't, and a part of me is very regretful of that. Another part of me is like, it happened, there's nothing I can do about it now. I was a different person back then. I'm a lot more thoughtful and mature now, but back then I was just not, and I was very selfish, and I was just very like, I don't want to say aloof, but I was just very just kind of like, I didn't really care to continue friendships. I was in this space where I was very depressed. I was away from Maddie. Maddie was still a baby. I was away from Maddie. I was away from, what I considered to be my family. And I was just not in a good headspace. And he doesn't have social media. His wife does. I think I'm still friends with her and follow her on stuff. But I've like, I know when his birthday is exactly 7 days after mine. So, I mean, like, I always message her and be like, tell him happy birthday for me. And I see pictures of them, and they have kids, and they all look like him, which is really funny. And like, so that's, I guess you could call that estranged.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you and I are also similar in a way, because I told my story, and I think, when you mention that I really work at trying to make amends or keep the relationship going, I'm also pretty good at cutting things off too, as well. Like, I did not stress over this for long.
Yeah.
I saw the writing on the wall, especially after I saw the first girls trip and saw that they hadn't included me. I was like, oh, that's how it is.
Right.
And I will also say, sometimes those things also can be a positive because
Yeah.
you're letting go of something that wasn't very good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will also say, so that was around 2012, 2013. And if they are listening, one of them might be, I don't think the other is. That is around the time I met Summer and Alicia. Summer finally came to like an AOPI event, and I met Summer through AOPI Baton Rouge stuff. And then through Summer, I obviously met Alicia and Heather and several other people. And that was the struggle I was having in Baton Rouge, was I hadn't met anyone.
Yeah.
And I had lived here now for almost 5-6 years, and I still hadn't made a lot of friends. And so I will say that estrangement sort of catapulted me into meeting people.
Yeah.
And inevitably I will say you, because, you know, that was when like online dating started, and I always joke that Summer was the one who made me change my age range and all of that silliness. But sometimes an estrangement can be really what you needed, and you didn't even realize it at the time. So I also say that estrangement, something good came out of it, because I could have just still been latched on to that group and not gotten out of my comfort zone, kind of living in the past of just my college friends, and, you know, not tried to make newer friends. So for me, it was sad and hard, but it also gave me new life.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I have one more. This one's a little bit more of like the literal definition of estrangement, and this stemmed from a conflict, and partially on me, partially on him. I'm not going to, once again, we're not going to name names. I 100% know that they're not listening, so I can kind of guarantee that if they are, you will know who you are once you hear the story. But so I had this friend, we became friends in high school, and it was like friend of friends, and we ended up hanging out one time, and we ended up becoming really good friends. We had very similar sense of humors, very similar personalities, kind of not came from similar backgrounds, but had very similar relationships like with our families and stuff. So we kind of connected on a lot of things, and we just had a lot of inside jokes, and you know how those friendships kind of go. Like you just kind of have that connection, and we maintained our friendship for several years. But as we got older, and I don't know if it was just with me or with other people, but it started to feel like our friendship was very conditional. It felt like if I didn't do exactly what he wanted, exactly when he wanted, he would get mad at me, regardless of what I had going on. And
do you mean like going out,
like
or
making plans and then being like, okay, well, let's hang out on Friday night. I'm like, I have to work Friday night. Well, we're going to hang out Friday night. And I'm just like, but I'm working Friday night, you know? And it's just, and then when Friday night would come, I would be like, I'm working. He'd be like, you're always doing this. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? You know, I'm just
sorry,
like,
I have to work.
We've been over this. Yeah. And it was, you know, it was like this for a couple of years, and finally there was one time, I don't remember like what we were doing or I think we were going to see a movie, and I told him several times, I was like, I am working during that time, I'm off the next day, let's go the next day. So when that day come, and he was just like, what time are you meeting me at the movies? I'm like, we've already gone over this, like I am working, I told you I was working, and we can meet tomorrow. And he just like chewed me out. And I was just like, I'm done. I was just like, I'm done with this. Like, this is exhausting. And to him, I was probably exhausted. You know what I mean? Like, through his point of view, like, he probably thought I was exhausting. So it was just kind of...
Or you were not putting in the effort when you were actually trying to make a living and pay your rent.
And, you know, he probably viewed me as being, like, wishy-washy or flaky, which is kind of what I'm known for in my friend group. So it was kind of probably easy to just kind of lump that into what was going on with this. But to me, that's not what was going on. To me, it was like I wasn't catering to him, and so he was getting mad. And we stopped talking for a little while, and then about a year passed, maybe a little bit longer, but about a year or so passed, and I was like, this is dumb. I was just like, this is dumb that we're not friends. We were friends for such a long time. We were best friends for such a long time. This is dumb that we're not hanging out. Like, so I sent him a message and I was just like, hey, I'm really sorry about everything. Like, I think it's dumb that we're not friends anymore. I really want to be your friend and I will put forth the effort. Like, I really just kind of set aside everything that was actually wrong with the friendship. And I was decided to just take full blame and just be like, I'd rather take full blame and just let's throw it under the rug and just be friends again. Like, I'm willing to do that.
Yeah.
That's the last time I've ever done that because of the story I'm about to tell. So first of all, he messages me back like, I'm not even kidding, like 8 months later.
Oh.
Acting as if I had just messaged him. And he sends this long thing about how I'm not a good friend. And I messaged him back. And I was like, first of all, I messaged you this like months ago. So the fact that you're acting like this is a new message, I don't know.
What's wrong with your text system?
I don't know what. No, honestly, I don't know what game you're trying to play. Like, because that's how it felt. Like, it just felt like. It felt like a little. The term gaslighting wasn't around back then, but it just felt a lot like he was trying to make something my fault that wasn't my fault, and like. And so I'm just like, look, when I first, and I kind of told him, I kind of like was like, look, I'm willing. Like, I was sitting there willing to just kind of take all of this because I wanted to be friends with him again, and I was willing to just like kind of go against what I thought was right, and I was kind of going against how I felt that I was, because I know I was in the wrong with some things, but like overall, this was a team effort of kind of destroying the friendship, and so I kind of told him, I was like, look, when I first moved back here, I was really lost and I was really depressed, and I was a little flaky, and I'm working on that, and I'm a lot better now. He was like. And then he literally just said something along the lines of like, well, I'm sorry that you hate your life and blah, blah, like really trying to make, like just really being very vicious and being very mean. And at that point, I just blocked him. I was just like, you're blocked. You're out of my life. And honestly, that kind of began my kind of stance on once you kind of show me your true colors, I don't want to be your friend. Like, I'm not willing to work through it. And I think that's why I am so dismissive with people. And unfortunately, it developed into a really bad habit, and I did it to people who probably didn't deserve it. And that is something that I am still working on. I will probably always be working on. But that was kind of my lesson in like, sometimes you just need to let people go. Sometimes a friendship, sometimes you are just not compatible with someone as a friend, and you just need to just cut ties and stop trying to make something out of nothing. And that was kind of my lesson in that, and that was kind of also my lesson in like just knowing that I am who I am, and I will try to work on certain things, but if you are going to treat me like this, you're not worth my time. Like, you're not worth my time, and obviously I'm not worth yours.
Yeah.
The way you made me feel in that conversation. So it was just, and I'm sure he has a different point of view, and I'm sure if he were to have if he had a podcast and told this story, it would sound very different. And
always.
That's kind of why, like, I'm just saying this is from my point of view. This is from my perspective. There's, 3 versions of every story, 3 sides to every story. So, I mean, this is just my side of it. But yeah, that's just kind of that's probably like the only one I would say is like a literal definition of the word estrangement, because I haven't had like super big conflict with people. We just kind of grow apart and stop talking. So, I mean, like, that's usually what happens.
Move away, just different lives.
That's
nothing
usually what
happened.
happens. Yeah.
It just time and distance. Yeah.
And so yeah, that's those are probably the big 2.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
I'm really trying to think. I mean, not particularly. I mean, obviously just a lot of friends that I don't talk to regularly, but again, it's just time and distance. I mean, I wouldn't classify like my New Orleans gals as an estrangement. It's just I don't happen to go to New Orleans nearly as much as I used to from the original time I moved back up until like 2021. My mom died in 2020, but I was still going to New Orleans regularly to clean the house and then obviously for work. And then once we sold the house, so for the past 5 years, I really only go to New Orleans for work to teach at Tulane or Loyola or to go to the Sanger with you.
Yeah.
So I don't go to New Orleans, to the West Bank. I mean, I used to go like once a week.
I remember.
And so I don't see the New Orleans gals, but we make a very concerted effort.
I wouldn't call that estranged.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, that to me is not an example. You know, I just don't see them as much because it's, you know, the distance is from Baton Rouge to New Orleans, and I just don't happen to go there as much, so I don't get to see them. But yeah, I mean, Tara, Becky, Keith are all coming for 4th of July, and you know, Darnell, Lori, and Colleen just happen to have other plans, so otherwise they might have come. But yeah, we see them sometimes for Tara's king cake birthday party, or like we'll have a Saints football party, so at Lori and Darnell's. But again, you know, you know, nothing has happened, but I think that just oftentimes happens with friends. It's just life gets in the way, and it's no fault of anyone's.
Right.
So yeah.
All right, I have another question, but we can get into it when we do the plot summary.
All right,
because it's more pertaining to a very specific scene.
Okay.
So just like with Derry Girls, I think Lisa McGee really loves music and really loves kind of incorporating her music and into shows, just like with Derry Girls. So with How to Get to Heaven from Belfast, I have a little soundtrack for episode 1, The Wake. A lot of we got some bangers in here. We got Hot in Here by Nelly.
Love it.
Superstar by Jamelia. I think that's what I want to say. A song I have not heard in decades, C'est La Vie by Bewitched.
Oh, yeah.
That
C'est La
song
Vie.
was everywhere in the late 90s. All the girls were listening to Bewitched. They had like their little posters and stuff. It was everywhere for it was everywhere for a while. You got Heaven by DJ Sammy. Pump It by the Black Eyed Peas, which I low-key kind of hate that song, but it was everywhere for a very long time, just like Tommy said from Smosh. She was like, you remember when we were forced upon the Black Eyed Peas for 5 years and everyone pretended like they were good? And she's like, yeah, I remember that.
I did like some of their stuff.
Oh, yeah, Boom Boom Pow is a pretty great song.
Boom Boom Pow. Yeah.
And Move Your Feet by Junior Senior. And then an original song by the show's composers, Gary Lightbody and Ian Archer, I Don't Want to Go to You, which I've already added to my playlist because I really like that song. All right, let's get into the plot summary.
We have to add some of these to the 4th of July playlist.
Dude, we got to add
We got to add some Boom Boom Pow. Yeah.
I think I have Black Eyed Peas on one of our party playlists. I think I was just like, I got to put Pump It on here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so How to Get to Heaven from Belfast, plot summary, or The Wake plot summary. We open to teenage best friends Saoirse, Robin, Dara, and Greta running through the woods at night. They then go to a cabin in the woods and find strange symbols on the wall. We all then see them standing outside the cabin watching it burn to the ground. Cut to 20 plus years later, the girls are all grown up. Saoirse is a successful TV writer for one of the UK's top shows, Murder Code in Britain, which is such a great title.
Which I love because she's like, okay, this is not what I wanted to do, but she's like mega successful.
Right.
It's like the top show or something.
Yeah, she's like the head writer for like the top show in the UK, and she low-key kind of hates her job.
Yeah.
A crime drama centering around a female detective. She is confused and a little irritated that the executives and showrunner want to move the show in a different direction away from the murder plot and instead focus on the main character's personal life, which is like, it's called Murder Code. So
She's
I mean, like,
we have to have a murder.
Robin is now married and a mother of 3 boys. Her life revolves around her sons, and she basically feels like her sole purpose is to be their chauffeur. While the boys argue in the back seat, Robin imagines herself slamming her face into the steering wheel to get them to stop talking. Kind of reminds me of that scene from Obsession.
No.
Poor Sarah. Dara feels a bit lost in life and feels like her life has no meaning. She still lives at home with her mother and younger sister, and Dara has issues expressing herself and often ends up accidentally venting her life's frustrations to complete strangers, like a waitress who was simply asking for her food order.
That was great.
Which I think opened the episode, which I think opened the present day, and it was a really funny scene because she talks so fast. And it was like she did not take a breath. She did not blink. I was just like, that's impressive.
And what I liked about this is that it's really like a good example of like a good friend group. I mean, not like a good friend group, but like a
good dynamic.
Good dynamic. Yeah.
Kind of have like the quote unquote smart one, the fun one, and then kind of like the goofy one.
Yeah.
Over the last 20 years, the group, they aren't as close as they used to be and lost contact with Greta when they were teenagers when Greta moved away. Saoirse, Robin, and Dara receive an email from, so I can't remember if it was Greta's sister or sister-in-law. I can't remember what it was, because when I looked up the plot summary, it kept saying sister, but I'm like, I thought they said sister-in-law, but I can't remember. Yeah. So watch the show. Watch the show and you'll find out.
Watch it.
So they receive an email from Greta's sister or sister-in-law that Greta has passed away. So the three girls reunite and head to Donegal, the small town where Greta moved to when they were younger. As soon as the trio are together, they immediately regress back to how they were as teenagers, which is just what you do.
Oh, absolutely.
They bicker about each other's fashion choices, which I love Dara's Dara t-shirt where it just says her name over and over again. They bicker about each other's fashion choices and have different versions of their childhood memories. The bickering intensifies when Dara puts the wrong type of fuel into Robin's car and the car breaks down in the middle of nowhere. Nightmare fuel to break down in the middle of the Irish countryside where there is nothing in sight.
Well, there is also no shoulder to pull over on. It's like just one lane.
There was that scene where they were driving. Oh, yeah. There was that scene where they were driving and you and I were both like, we're not even in this. And it's just like, yeah, when an oncoming car comes, you have to pull over. I'm just like, oh my God.
And hope.
They are saved by Liam, a local man who tows them into town. Liam is younger and very attractive, and Saoirse begins to flirt with him despite having a fiancé back in London. The trio are forced to stay the night in a small hotel. We learn that Liam works for Greta's husband and is also a police officer, or Garda, as they're called in the UK.
Garda.
They learn, or maybe it's just an Ireland thing. I don't know. I didn't research that. They learn that Greta's cause of death was a fall down a flight of stairs. When the trio enters their separate rooms and each take a shower, we all learn that they all have matching tattoos of an unknown symbol. That's going to be important later in the episode. That night, they sit at the hotel bar, drink loads of wine, and reminisce about the good old days. They decide to join a class of students who are bar hopping on the dance floor. As the trio dance, they are reminded of their younger selves and wish that Greta was with them. That was my favorite scene. The next day, the trio are nursing an intense hangover while they attend Greta's wake. They are a bit surprised that the wake is in public and it's only Greta's intense mother, Greta's aloof husband, her odd brother, and Greta's shy daughter. Greta's family is confused as to why the trio is there, and when they say they got an email from Greta's sister or sister-in-law, her family looks even more confused. The trio then enter the room where Greta's coffin is, and the family insists that they have a closed casket. Something isn't right, and Saoirse can feel it. So she writes for a crime drama, so she kind of has like her spidey senses are tingling. Saoirse is left alone Greta's daughter enters the room and confesses that she was the one who sent the email. She tells Saoirse that her mother talked about them all the time. Saoirse is then, I forgot to delete that one sentence. Saoirse is then left alone with Greta's coffin once again. She impulsively opens the coffin and is stunned by something, but we don't know what yet.
We don't know.
Saoirse then insists that they leave immediately. The trio scurries out of the house while Greta's husband follows them, which it was getting intense for a second there. Saoirse says the body in the coffin didn't have a matching tattoo. Greta got hers on her wrist, and the corpse in the house did not have one.
Ooh.
Greta's husband follows them in the car, and eventually Robin crashes the car, which was for some reason a really funny scene, flipping it over a few times. The trio is still alive. Greta's husband approaches the crashed car. We then cut to a woman in a white nightgown running through the woods in a panic. She stops and ends up at a lake. She turns around, and we see a tattoo on her wrist, the matching tattoo that the other girls have. Is Greta still alive? Is this a flashback? We don't know. End of episode.
End of episode.
I mean, what a great way to open a show. Like, what a great way to just kind of like, we immediately love these characters. We immediately relate. We watching the show in our 40s, 50s, however old you are, kind of that feeling of being with your friends and reminiscing and kind of regressing back into that 15-year-old that you were when y'all used to hang out, and then kind of building this kind of crime thriller, but mixing it in with just such silly, funny, quirky humor. It's such a great combination, like you said in the episode in Series Information, such a great combination of all of these genres, and they just kind of mix it together so well.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, it was really good in the sense of like, I kept wanting to watch, and I liked all of them as well, and I liked all of their lives. You could see that in yourself or your friend group, so it was something that I really enjoyed.
Me too. Okay, so that is How to Get to Heaven from Belfast. It is on Netflix. Great show, 8 episodes, easy watch. We're probably going to start watching it probably this weekend or maybe next week when I have some time off. But so before we end the episode and do our thing, it is the end of the month. So that means that we have a new theme for next month, new shows. And was there inspiration behind this one? So
June?
Yeah, so there was a very specific show that came out this year, and we fell in love with it. Okay, sorry about that. My phone just went off in the middle of the recording, and it was a local number, so I thought maybe it was something specific, but it wasn't. It was just a random call. Anyway, so there was a very specific show that came out this year, and we were like, okay, well, we have to do this show for the pod, and we were just kind of okay, well, what theme can we build around it? And you were just like, well, we've done workplace shows, but we've never specifically done like corporate workplace shows, which is its own subgenre.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think that's the one thing that I love about doing this podcast is like we're never going to run out of subgenres. There are an infinite amount of subgenres for TV for forever. So for the month of June, we are going to be doing corporate workplace shows. Some are comedies, some are dramas. I think those are kind of the
mockumentaries,
silly shows. Yeah, so we are very excited.
Yep.
And we will be back next week with our first show. We're not going to say what it is, but we're going to be back with our first show next week. And I think next week I will have some fun news. I'm not going to say it now, just I don't want to jinx anything, but by then I will have confirmed it, so I will just go ahead and kind of wait until then. But so far as I know, it's going to happen. Anyway, so we will be back next week. But until then, that wraps up this episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on whichever platform you're listening to this podcast on. That way you'll be notified every time we publish a new episode. You can also follow us on Instagram at We Judge Pilot Pod. We're also on Facebook and Threads. You can leave us a comment, suggest a show for us to watch, or leave some emojis in the comments. What you got?
I have a few. Of course, the Ireland flag, any of the dead emojis, a coffin, a car, the woods.
There's a coffin emoji?
Yes, there is a coffin emoji.
God, I'm going to type that in right now.
Like the house to represent like the cabin, the fire, any of the family, the boys, the mom, the dad, any of the clothes, the gas, any of those will be fun. All right. Well, we are going to head out, but we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.